Hello and welcome back to Hop to the Top. Hope you're all doing well today. Hope you had a great weekend and you're ready for another week full of Hop to the Top videos. Today we've got two games coming up for you. We've got Luzern in the league before we take on Lausanne in the Swiss Cup semi-finals. Looking for our 7th or 6th cup final in a row if you reach it, which is mental really. Anyway, a couple things to talk about in today's episode, including a new tactic that I've thought of, and it's not really that much different to our usual tactic, but it's something slightly different that I want to have your input on. So first things first, the game since you guys were last here for the loss to Chelsea, well, the draw with Chelsea, we lost on aggregate, unfortunately. Since then, we have gone on to beat Thun 4-1. We had a 0-0 draw with Basel, a 2-2 draw with Servette, and a 1-0 win against Lausanne. We brought in a new tactic against Thun, and it worked very well, winning 4-1. Harry Kane, Silver Reese, Ross McQuaid, and Selma with the goals in that one. But since then, it's not really worked as much as I thought it was going to work out. Harry Kane picking up all of our goals since the Thun game there. So I suppose I'll just jump straight into it. The new tactic is very, very similar to the one we have at the moment, but I wasn't really feeling our wingers. I didn't think our wingers were playing particularly well. I didn't think they were contributing enough or as much as I wanted them to. So we got rid of the wingers, essentially, and brought in two more attacking midfielders. It's just now a very narrow version of our old formation. So this is the usual formation that we're using for the past couple of seasons, and this is what I changed to. I know it's revolutionary. It's worked a little bit. Essentially, as I was saying, I just wasn't that pleased with how well that Gil or Anselmi were doing on the left-hand side, or how Capitano and Billy Schmitz were doing on the right-hand side. And I thought, well, we've got some fantastic midfield players. Let's try and get them all into the squad. Obviously, it means we play quite narrow, but Nunes and Schneider can sort of move out wide a little bit. I think they're quite good at doing that as well. So there is room to manoeuvre. Obviously, in these particular areas of the pitch, apparently we are very ineffective, but I'm not really too fussed about that. But at the very least, I wanted to show you guys what it was like and how we could potentially use it next season if we wanted to. So this is the lineup for today's game. The first game up against Luzern, who are the only team to have beaten us in the league this season, and they've done it twice, which is kind of frustrating. The league table, by the way, as you would expect, we are still top of the table by a massive 13 points. We are doing very well. Basel have dropped off quite a bit in recent weeks. The young boys have caught them up. Thun have also dropped off as well, which has been quite frustrating for them as well. So everyone's been knocked out of European football now as far as I am aware. I don't think young boys are still in it. No, they're not in it anymore. Basel are certainly not in it anymore. We saw them go out last episode. Thun, I think, got knocked out in the qualifying rounds. Is it just Lausanne who are in it and they're knocked out of it as well? Everyone's knocked out of European football, so it's not been a great season for European football for Swiss clubs, really, which is a bit unfortunate. But we've got one more chance next season to try and win the Champions League. Back to the lineup, though, as I was saying, Kalas is in goal as per usual with a backline of Dorival, Haldinho, Bunt, Sterigu and Silver Reese. If we look down here, Ross McQuaid is currently injured. Should be back in the next few days or so, should be back for the Lausanne game, which will be quite good. In the midfield, we have got a Mazzala in Pedro and a box-to-box midfielder in Soares, but the attacking midfield trio of Schneider, Lo Celso and Nunes are all going to be helping Harry Kane try and score a hat-trick of goals today. He's on 30 for the season, which is absolutely phenomenal. He's done very well to try and replicate what Bottles could. It's a shame that no one else has really been contributing to the goals this season. We have been lacking goals, apart from Harry Kane and Silver Reese with 8 goals, which is very bizarre for a right-back. But he has been scoring plenty of goals, and luckily for us, he's sort of replaced Bottles relatively well. So then, kickoff is upon us here today. As I said earlier, Luzern have beaten us twice this season already. So, if anything, Luzern are the favourites to win this game, based on previous form this season. Hopefully, we change that, though, and we get a decent result against them. As Nunes on the ball, plays it out wide towards Pedro, up towards Randy Schneider on that left-hand side of the attacking midfield trio. Pedro into Soares. Soares can get it back out towards Pedro, into Nunes, and he shoots from distance. A good save from the keeper there. The only downside to this is we really do lack a little bit out wide, because they all do try to play centrally. If we could have Mazzalas as attacking midfielders, that would be really good. I'd quite like that, to be fair. That would work out pretty well, but we can't do that. So we've got them all as, well, attacking playmaker through the middle who can sort of pass it out to other players. Although we have got our attacking playmaker as the, or advanced playmaker, I should say, as the attacking player. Perhaps it might work out a little better if we put him on support and instead have Nunes on attack and Schneider on attack. That could work out maybe slightly better. I mean, we're doing very well with taking shots. We've had 4 shots so far in the first 15 minutes or so, and we've nearly scored a goal there as Harry Kane's header goes miles over the bar in the end. Luzern, on the other hand, haven't had a single shot yet, and we've just won the ball back off them, so which is obviously quite good, but they have got possession back and looking to try and get the ball back forward, but that's a terrible ball forward, and Silver Reese just about gets it back to Calasto, which is the good stuff. Haroldinho bunts up towards Soares into Giovanni Lo Celso, Pedro into Schneider. And again, we're just sort of lacking that little bit of width. That's potentially the only thing that we're being let down by here. We haven't had brilliant results so far. Obviously, we beat Toon 4-1 and we beat another team 1-0. But we had 2 draws in there as well. And perhaps the lack of width there was something that hindered us in those results. But obviously, it's a brand new tactic. It takes a little bit of time to bed down. But potentially, this could be brilliant. And Randy Schneider grabs his 3rd goal of this season, which does suggest that it does work to an extent. But at the same time, you do have to remember that this Grasshopper side is head and shoulders better than most, well, yeah, pretty much all the clubs I'd say in Switzerland at this stage, which is why the save is getting a little bit stale in my opinion, and which is why we're stopping it in the 10 seasons to move on to something else, because for me it's just getting a little bit repetitive now. Obviously, right at the very start, we planned to only do 10 seasons, but I thought just because, you guys want something fresh, I didn't think I'd get bored of this, and whilst I'm not bored of it, it just is getting a little bit repetitive now, and that's not so much fun for me as a creator to just sit here and just win every single game, every single night. It's just a bit like, oh, come on, can we just lose something for a change? But then, of course, we lose in the Champions League, and that's the one thing we actually do really want to win. So that's, again, a little bit annoying. But, again, end of this season is very close now. We've got the semi-final of the Cup. If we win that, we do the final of the Cup next episode, and then we head into Season 10, which is the final season, which should be good fun, and then we move on to Inter Miami in the MLS for a season. In the second half, though, 63 minutes on the clock. It's gone by pretty quickly with no highlights in the second half. Luzern, though, are trying to get themselves a goal on the scoreboard. Kalas makes a good save from their number 9 who was racing forward there. Pretty much unchallenged, actually. Perhaps we need to tweak defensive duties just a little bit in this new formation if we want to stick with it going forward. Lo Celso gets the ball up towards Harry Kane. And this is where the counter-attack works quite well, because now we've got 5 players in the middle of the pitch who are all ready and waiting. If Kane could have got that ball in the middle, that would have been perfect. The downside to that, of course, is all the players are in the middle of the pitch. There's no one supporting Kane out wide. So, again, it's a little difficult to work out if this tactic is something to go for going forward. But we can switch between this one and wingers. I think they're pretty similar. I've tried to set them up quite similarly so that we can swap them out quite easily if we need to. If we need some more width, we can bring the width on. If we want to go a bit more central, the wingers aren't working, we can do that as well. So it's sort of trying to have a few different scenarios available to us, a few different options available to us tactically. Unfortunately, Luzern through. Was that a penalty decision? No, it wasn't. I thought it was going to VAR for a penalty there. He puts it wide in. We'll get that for a corner, so it was a good save. Goes out for a corner. Number 10 puts it in the middle. Cleared though, but only as far as Luzern players. Can they grab a last minute? I say last minute. There's 15 minutes to go or so it's not quite a last minute equaliser, but they're getting close later on. They're building themselves into the game. With 10 minutes to go or so, Harry Kane's going to come off for Luca and Selmy. Alex Smith can come on for Nunes. Let's bring him on in that position. Oh, not Nunes, actually. Nunes is playing really well. Alex Smith can come on for Lo Celso instead. But I don't think those changes are going to do much by the looks of things, because there hasn't been a single highlight since those changes were made. We've ended up beating Luzern 1-0, which is, of course, fantastic. But I'd like to see a bit more clinical ability coming from us. Potentially, we might have just won the league title with that, because this looks like a celebration screen usually. We've just won the title. How was I not aware of that? I mean, I won't lie to you. The last time I played this game was Friday. Today is Monday, so I've probably read an article saying we're going to win the title, and I've just completely forgotten about it. So passionately, well done lads on winning the title. That's fantastic. I just was not aware. So that's another league title for us, which is obviously brilliant stuff. That's the 4th one in a row now, isn't it? Because we remember 27-28 season, now at 26-27. So 4th in a row, fantastic stuff. Now all we need to go and do in today's episode is go forward into the Swiss Cup semi-final, beat Lausanne and maybe face Basel or Lugano in the final, which would be, if we go to the past winners, it would be the 7th final in a row for us and the 6th one that we would have won. So we're doing something right, aren't we? What I think we do for the Lausanne game, though, is we go back to wingers for the first time in 5 games or so. I think we try the wingers once again, and then you can leave comments down below sort of comparing and contrasting how you think we've played. And also, it's probably a good idea to go back to wingers to just try and swap some of these players out. We've only had a few days off in between episodes, so we do need to... And apparently we've got 7 non-EU players. This must be in the entire squad, which must be obviously different rules for the Swiss Cup. So we've got to think carefully about this one. Let's head back to wingers then. I'll just do this and just a quick bit of the team very quickly. We don't want Capitania playing. I think we want to be putting on the pitch Billy Schmitz instead, because then that means we can get a different foreign player, outside the EU player at least, on the pitch, which is going to be Haroldinho Bunce. I want him on the bench at the very least. Ross McQuaid is back from his injury, and actually I think he's going to start there alongside Sterigu, because if we see Haroldinho Bunce is only on 92% condition. Pedro and Lo Celso both looking tired, as is Dorival, so actually we'll swap Dorival out completely with Guardado, and then Guardado can play and get a bit of match sharpness in there as well. He's also 100% condition. Lo Celso and Pedro are both looking tired out there, I've got to say. Schneider's not looking too bad. I think we bring Schneider on for Pedro and give him a chance out there today. But other than that, I'm kind of happy with that lineup. I think it looks pretty good, so I'm going to leave it as it is. That's the team we're going to go for. Let's take on Lausanne and get ourselves to another Swiss Cup final. So then kickoff is upon us as per usual. Hopefully we get a big result here today. Now I'm specifically looking as to how Brian Gill and Billy Schmitz play. I want to see some big games from them. I want to see goals and I want to see assists from them to justify me starting them next season, because if they just don't perform, we might just switch formation completely and stick with the 3 attacking midfielders instead. Or, as this pitch is absolutely massive for some reason, what's going on here? We have to minimise the highlight thing there, which are the stats, which has sort of obscured the view of the goal there. We'll watch it on the replay. Randy Schneider's cross into the middle. Ross McQuaid unchallenged in the air. 26 minutes into the game. That's only the first highlight. This has gone by very, very quickly. But we are 1-0 up on this ridiculously long pitch, and Ross McQuaid has done it again. Literally the exact same manoeuvre, this time on the other side of the pitch, assisted by Brian Gill, who's a bit of a free kick specialist. So fair play for him for putting that straight onto Ross McQuaid's head. I presume he got the assist for the first goal as well. No, Schneider did for the first goal, but Ross McQuaid grabs both of them, justifying his selection today. I've got to say as well, as we hit half-time, the only 2 highlights of the game have been the 2 goals, which is, I mean, it's good for us because it means we can get through this nice and quickly. What I was going to say is, though, Harry Kane blows hot and cold. Yes, he has got 30 goals this season, but he'll either score a hat-trick in a game or just do nothing. Luca Anselmi can come on for him once again to try and have a go up front and see what he can do, score some goals. I have got faith in Luca Anselmi. If we were doing this, say, for another 4 or 5 seasons, he'd be the first choice player. He's the player that I'd want to develop into be the new Bottles and things like that. Harry Kane is obviously a very good player, but he's not going to get any better. He's probably deteriorating quite a bit. I can't remember if he's on a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal. We'll have to double check this at the end of the episode. The second half has absolutely flown by. Nothing really happening at all. This has been a very boring semi-final, but it's gone by quickly. And right at the end, there is a highlight. Who's it going to be for? It looks like it's going to be for Lausanne as they look to bring the ball forward, getting out from the back, or they give it straight to Guardado, though, who gets it back towards the goal scorer, Ross McQuaid. Back to Guardado. Can he just punt the ball up front? No, he can't. He loses possession. And Lausanne, can they grab a late consolation goal? And if we're not careful, that consolation goal could turn into an equaliser. They're on the ball still. They worked it backwards a little bit, but Franz on the ball, number 22, gets past the defenders in the area, and they've won a penalty from that. Apparently it's going to VAR. Apparently it says it looked down there. It looks harsh, but the VAR says it's a penalty. Then number 9 steps up. Kalas didn't have to move. It was straight at him, but it looked like it bounced off him and went in the back of the net rather than him trying to stop it. It was a very, very powerful penalty, that one. Kalas, I mean, should have done so much better there. So much better. Luckily for us, though, as Brian puts a free kick into the area, it's over the line. Nunes gets the final touch on it. I think it bounced around the area quite a bit. Went onto Anselmi's head, hit a defender, and then bounced into Nunes' path. We're up 3-1. Obviously, Lausanne aren't coming back into today's game. We've won it 3-1 into another cup final. Who are we playing in the cup final, though? That is what I want to know. Will it tell us? Not yet, because the other game hasn't taken place yet. So it's going to be a surprise for you who we're going to play next episode in the Swiss Cup final alongside the Toon game to finish the season off. So we didn't really get much of a look as to how we play with wingers in that second game because there were just no highlights pretty much. But let me know in the comment section, which formation do you think we should go for moving forward, or should we just try and use both situationally and just sort of keep wingers as the main formation but use attacking midfielders when we feel like we need to, in different situations and scenarios. Also worth noting, Harry Kane's contract ends at the end of this season in 2028. So actually, I'm going to offer him a new contract for next season. He wants to be an important player still. He's on 88 grand a week at the moment. Maybe it's 83 grand. Either way, he wants £1,000 less per week next season. We're going to try and bring this down a little bit. £62,000 and no unused substitute fee. Suggest those terms. He is going down in his wage demands, which is good. 65k. We can work that one out, lads. 67k. He says yes to 67k. So we'll get a new contract for Harry Kane for next season on less money, which is fantastic. We do have a big disparity in wages. Lo Celso and Selmy's on ridiculous amounts of money, by the way. I know he shouldn't be, but I panicked when we wanted to get a striker and we needed to get a striker in pretty quickly. We didn't have Kane at that point. So, and Selmy was... I'll pay whatever. I'll pay him whatever. So he's on a very expensive contract, considering he doesn't play as much as Harry Kane, which is a little bit frustrating, but we can afford it. But there is quite a big disparity in wages from, well, you've got players on less than 10 grand a week who are, some of them first-team players, really. Then there's sort of no one in between the less than 10k and the players on about 30k. That's a little bit strange to me. And then you go from the 30ks up to like the 50s and 80ks and 100k for Lo Celso. We need to maybe sort this out a little bit for next season if we want to try and optimise things properly. But I still think we have got a good chance next season of doing very well in the Champions League. Even if we don't make many signings, I think we can do it. But we are going to make a fair few signings for next season, I reckon. Either way, thank you ever so much for watching today's episode. Either way, thank you very much for watching today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have done, please do drop a like on the video for me and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. And I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Goodbye.